Nick in Virginia. Hi, Nick. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good. Happy to talk with you. How can we help today?
I was just calling because hoping to get a little advice about dealing with my mom and my family. Really, I figure I should probably start with my backstory going in.
For sure. Just Cliff Notes version.
Yeah, real quick. I know you guys are strapped for time. So I grew up in a religious cult called the Family. We called it the Family International or the Family of Light. It had a bunch of different names. I think it was originally like Teens for Christ or something. So they believed in things like, no going to school. I was never allowed to go to school. Wasn't allowed to listen to music or watch movies or anything that wasn't approved or made by them. We lived in communal homes, which homes with 5 or 6 families living in one house. Wow. And, it was pretty sucky as far as growing up goes. But I've since, grown up, moved out. I'm 24 now. I joined the military. I have my own life, and I'm pretty happy with my life the way it is. The only thing is I recently had since becoming an atheist, I have recently had a discussion, actually just a couple of days ago. I talked to my mom about it. And I want to say thank you to you guys and the Atheist Experience and Vice Rhino and Holy Kool-Aid and all you YouTube atheists, because y'all totally prepared me for having this discussion with my mother.
Good.
So basically, yeah. So basically, we talked about it. She would bring up some Ray Comfort video or something, and I'd explain to her why he was wrong and what he was saying. And after like an hour or two of the talk, it pretty much came down to she flat out said, there is nothing that I'm going to say that's going to convince her. And normally that's where I would stop the conversation, because she's an adult, she can believe what she wants to believe, and that's fine. The only problem is I have little brothers, the youngest of which is like 2, and they still live with her. And even though she says she's separated from the family life, she's still living like that. She doesn't really have a home of her own. She lives with other families. She doesn't let them go to school because, evolution bad. And I don't know. I feel like I got to do something because they really should be in. I can't tell. I have no right to tell my mom how to raise her kids. But at the same time, I look at them and I think if I could go back in time and change how I was raised, I would do it. And I can't do that for myself. But I see an opportunity where I could maybe help my brothers out of that life.
Oof. Yeah, that's well, first of all, congratulations for getting out and for taking that journey, because that sounds like it was probably very emotionally exhausting and fraught, and probably came with a lot of turmoil. So kudos to you for getting out, for pursuing that. And I'm so happy that you found this little atheist online community and that it's been helping you kind of formulate your thoughts and have these difficult conversations, because they're always difficult, right? It's always talking about these really deeply held things that people attach a lot of importance to. So being prepared for that is always good. As far as what to do now, I empathize. I'm in a similar situation, albeit politically. My mom is a pretty hardline conservative, very much on board the Trump train. And I'm watching my little siblings kind of become indoctrinated by these, bad ideas. And one of the reasons I continue having a dialogue with my mom, even though it really has come down to you have your beliefs, I have mine, I'm not going to be convinced by you, is for the sake of my little siblings. So I fully empathize there. I think as far as...
really hard
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's really hard because even I live on the other end of the country. They actually live in Texas right now. I pretty much see them once a year when I come to visit, and I buy the gifts, take them to an amusement park or something. We have a good time, and then I leave, and then we don't talk again. And so it's kind of hard to communicate with them ever. They only ever get their interactions with with my mom and, the other religious people that they live with.
Yeah. Oh gosh. I mean, I've got my thoughts that I'm happy to share, but I'm curious, Jon, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not familiar with the specific group that you grew up in, but there are lots of groups like that, and you certainly are not alone in the experience that you've had. And I'm with V here. I am so empathetic for the situation because you're seeing through these layers that have been present for you in your childhood, and you're seeing through these layers that are present in the lives of your brothers. And I would say the only advice that I could really feel like I could usefully give is to avoid looking at everything in too black and white a way. You may, the best that you may be able to do is to be a positive presence in their lives, and in a way that's sort of a constant presence that you're always there, but maybe not always, you're not able to control the situation. And I think recognizing the limitations of your influence is probably a good idea, because you can't control this situation entirely. And any attempt to is actually potentially going to make things worse. Your brothers are better off with you in their lives than they are without you. And so if you were to go in too hard, you might end up, being cut off from them. And so I guess the best advice I could think to give in this situation is to first off acknowledge that it's hard, and the fact that you're wrestling with it shows that you want the best for these people that are in your life, which is great. And just recognize that there's limitations to how much you can actually do. So just being there and being present is sometimes the most powerful effort that you can make.
Yeah, no, it's definitely hard, and I'm struggling with it every day pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for the family. As I'm with Jon, I've never heard of that particular cult before, but it sounds very similar to how I grew up. I was homeschooled, no media outside of what was approved by my very Christian conservative parents, very much isolated, living with my very large family, but not really having outside influence at all. And there is also this element of evangelism and this element of needing to save things, save people, save souls. And that I kind of took along with me as I deconverted. And I'm realizing that even to this day, where I have this instinct to save people, but this time it's flipped, right? As I need to save them from theism, right? I'm an anti-evangelist, I suppose, or, some kind of, play on that. But here's the thing, you need to be able to let that go too. Like Jon said, there is very little that you can do in this situation right now. You don't live by where your family lives. The kids are too young to have that kind of consistent outside contact, like Facebook, like email. They're not at that place yet. And any intense efforts to try and deconvert your mother or interfere in this way may make them less accessible to you instead of more. So I would say that for the purposes of however much we can give advice, being strangers on the internet who have a lot of shared experiences, but certainly no direct knowledge of you or your family, I would say the best thing to do in this instance is to make yourself available to your siblings as they grow. This is not going to be a short-term thing. This is not going to be a quick fix. But if you can be somebody on the outside that they know loves them, that they can trust, that they know has their best interests at heart, and also sees the world in a very different way from them, that is going to go miles and miles when they finally come to that point in their own lives where they're having these conversations and when they're having these doubts, right? Because there's going to become a point where they have this kind of internal monologue. Is this the way I need to go? I'm hearing these things. Does it match up with reality? Let me reach out to Nick. My brother knows, a lot of stuff. He's been out there in the world. I trust Nick. Let's see what Nick has to say about this. And just positioning yourself in that place for later, I think, is going to be the most influential in a positive way that you can be right now.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and not to downplay how hard it is, right? It is hard. It's frustrating to see your siblings, people you care about, and seeing your mom, someone you care about, kind of go down this path, and you know where it leads, and you know how hard it is, and we empathize with that, but you can't take that on yourself. You can't own that. That is their decision, and your siblings are going to get to make that decision for themselves later. And if you're there to help guide them through that process, ultimately that's going to be the most influential for you.
Yeah. Thanks for talking to me. That actually, I think that actually helps.
Good. I'm
Awesome.
glad. Oh my gosh. So if you do continue to have conversations with your mom, though, or she brings up something that you kind of start wrestling with, the Christian lingo there, no one wrestles with concepts except for Christians, right, Jon?
Yeah.
That is among the phrases that I think I probably have yet to leave behind.
Yeah. Oh, there are some that slip in there every so often.
Yeah.
But if you come up with the new questions from conversations with your mom, or other conversations inspired by these channels you're watching, give us a call back, Nick. We'd love to follow you on this journey.
I definitely will.
Okay.
Helped me so much throughout the last few years.
Good. That makes my life better. That makes my day. All right. Have a wonderful rest of your day, Nick. We're going to move on to the next call, but we wish you luck, and you've got this.